What's up guys, Rui here and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is something that I've been holding out for some time now because I feel like techwear in general is in a very clouded area and it's very difficult to kind of navigate around, especially when I'm trying to create a beginner friendly guide to techwear for anyone that is interested in this style. But I've came to the conclusion that I'm not going to be able to please everyone, so here is my absolute beginner guide to techwear. With techwear gaining quite a bit of momentum within this past couple of years, more and more people are getting interested in this style. Well, I think it's a great thing. Oftentimes when we do scroll through Instagram and see what people are posting, it's oftentimes very misleading as to what techwear really is. At best, I would say it might have some sort of functional influence, but to call it techwear is a little bit of a stretch. So for anyone who just got into this style or wants to learn more about it, I really do hope you will find this guide useful. Now, by no means am I trying to be a gatekeeper here, because firstly, I don't think I'm in a position to tell people what they can or cannot wear. In fact, I'm someone who also just recently got into this style of fashion within the past couple of years. Therefore, I'm definitely not an OG techwear head, nor am I an early disciple of Harrison. I'm not going to try to overcomplicate this whole entire guide. Therefore, to make it easier, I've broken it down to 4 parts, starting off with how to start, things to avoid, and then moving on to some of the brands that you could start off with without breaking the bank, and finally, what is next after the initial phase. This is going to be a rather long video, so I will be leaving timestamps down below in the description box. So grab yourself some snacks and a drink, and hopefully you will learn something from today's video. But before we continue further into today's video, it would be very much appreciated if you could go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below if you are new to the channel or just haven't been subscribed yet, as it really does help the channel out a long way. Also, if you guys are feeling generous and want to help support the channel in a much bigger way, I do have a Patreon page where I've only set up to be $1 a month, and all of it will go into be me to pick up new filming equipment so that I can continue to improve the qualities of the videos for you all, as well as helping to keep the lights on this channel. Let's first address the elephant in the room, and I don't really want to spend too much time on it and overcomplicate stuff. So what is techwear? Different people will have different interpretations of it, but at its core, I will put techwear or just functional wear as clothing that focuses on form and functionality. The pieces could have certain features or functionality that allows the user to adapt with their surroundings, or having designs that will help to improve the usability of the garments in an everyday situation. Basically, clothing that does more than just covering our body. With anything you do out there, there's always a starting point, and for me this is quite an important area as it kind of sets up the foundation for you, and having a good start here will help you to kind of streamline your journey just a little bit better, and also it could potentially save you some money. So what is the first step that you can take to better equip yourself before purchasing your first techwear piece? Instead of going in guns blazing, picking up pieces left and right just to quickly build your techwear wardrobe, I think the easiest and completely free method is to just ask yourself, what is it about techwear that you like? This will essentially provide you a checklist on what to look for in a garment, and from here just browse through the internet and discover some of the sub-styles within the techwear genre that might resonate with your own personal style. This is also a good time to kind of dive in and understand a little bit more about what techwear is and just learn more about that genre that you are interested in. Do you enjoy the outdoors and camping mixed with some urban aesthetic? Then hikercore or garpcore could be something you are into. Maybe you like more of the futuristic look, then the tech ninja look, which is probably the most associated with the techwear aesthetic, is right up your alley. Or if you prefer to be a more discreet in your clothing, but still having functionality in them, then the gray man style is more suited for you. Oftentimes, many people do mix and match together these different techwear styles, and that is totally fine as well. But it's important to understand what you like and try to obtain those pieces in the beginning before venturing out. Since we are on the topic of different types of techwear styles, I do want to segue a little bit and talk about Warcore. I feel like this is a topic that can be its own dedicated video, but I just want to briefly put this in because I feel like there is a misinterpretation when it comes to what techwear is due to Warcore. Warcore in a nutshell is a style that is very heavily military and utilitarian influence. That is why you will find many military references in those outfits, such as chest rigs, combat boots, utility pouches, to even gun props that are being used. In addition to that, there is also a mix of grunge and punk influence in the style. Well, yes, I would agree that Warcore was derived from Techwear, and in fact, many Techwear brands that you like, such as Acronym, does utilize a lot of military inspiration into their garments as well. Therefore, there are indeed certain similarities between those styles. However, when it comes to Warcore, a lot of what is going on in the outfit is purely an aesthetic thing with very little to none functionality, or just things that does not help to improve the usability of a piece, as compared to proper Techwear pieces which do serve a purpose as it's designed with functionality in mind. Just to emphasize, I do not have anything against Warcore. It's personally not for me, but if you do find yourself really liking that style, then by all means go all out. Fashion is just a form of expression and you are entitled to wear whatever you want. However, I do hope that there is a better understanding and distinction between Techwear and Warcore. If you guys are looking for a friendly community space to kind of just talk about Techwear stuff or just learn from others, I will highly recommend joining the Techwear subreddit page that has over 100,000 members. Everyone that I've met there so far are super friendly and helpful. Also, I do think that it's a great place to kind of just get some outfit inspiration, as there are a lot of people who will post their outfit photos from time to time. Alternatively, I do have a Discord channel whereby I am there quite often, so if any questions or just want to talk about Techwear, anime or video games, feel free to join that Discord channel. I also do have a marketplace in there whereby I do post listings of pieces that I am selling, and right now there are a couple of Techwear pieces still up for grabs that are going for way under retail. The next segment will probably be the most contested or debatable one in today's video, so do take everything that I've said here with a grain of salt or just with an open mind. When it comes to things to stay away from, the number one thing for me are dropshipping sites. If you have seen these images appear on any sites claiming to sell Techwear pieces, there's a very high chance you came across a dropshipping site. What is a dropshipping site? It's basically a third-party supplier that helps to purchase a particular product that you ordered from the original source and they then ship it out to you. These dropshipping sites do not design nor produce their own garments, and almost all the time the products can be found on Taobao or AliExpress for a much lesser price. So why should you avoid dropshipping sites? Truth is, there are just too many complications when it comes to purchasing from them. Oftentimes you will face issues such as poor quality in construction, incorrect sizing charts, fake knockoffs, and worst of all, you may not even receive the actual product that you bought. I personally have not bought anything from these sites and I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. But if you are interested in checking out some of these pieces, Antoine has done an entire series whereby he purchased from a couple of notorious dropshipping sites, and I think those videos will give you a very good idea on the risk that you may face purchasing from them. One thing to always remember, put aside the cool design and functionality of Techwear garments, I think oftentimes we tend to overlook one major aspect, which is true Techwear pieces are able to last a very long time due to the high quality and craftsmanship. Hence, purchasing something that claims to be a Techwear piece but is poorly constructed completely misses the point of being a Techwear garment in my opinion. That is why in almost every review video that I put up, I've always tried my best to mention about the quality of said piece, because to me it's actually very important to invest into a piece that you can see yourself wearing for many years to come. Up next is a point that I hope everyone can start to move away from, which is the mentality that every piece needs to be waterproof or water resistant for it to be considered as Techwear. Don't get me wrong, having at least water resistance in your garments can be a very clutch and useful functionality if you do get caught out in the rain or if you just want to shower without getting wet. I feel like the reason why water resistant garments are kind of like the poster child of Techwear is because it's a functionality that is very easily demonstrated and also visually catching. However, there's so much more in functional garments than just being able to keep you dry. Techwear is about garments that provide form and functionality that will help to improve the interaction between the garments and your everyday life. Therefore, things such as adequate storage space for all your EDC items, improved articulation for better mobility, or modularity of a piece to help adapt with different conditions, these are all functional aspects of a garment that can be considered as Techwear. This leads me to the next portion, which is if you are looking at garments on the affordable side of things, especially from smaller brands, Picking up a piece just because it's marketed as having waterproof capabilities may not always be the wisest choice, as there always needs to be a cost-cutting measure. Therefore, most often times these cheaper waterproof garments don't really use the best fabric materials out there, or they will have to cut corners in some other way. Some cheaper waterproof fabric goes even as far as completely blocking any liquid from entering or escaping. Thus, although it does a really good job in preventing any liquid from entering, it also prevents any sweat generated from our body to escape through the fabric. Thus, it is going to be very uncomfortable inside. There's a reason why high performance fabrics such as Scholar Dry Skin or Gore-Tex are so expensive. It's because these fabrics have undergone countless of R&D to perfect and kind of optimize the breathability of the fabric while still having waterproof capabilities. I am currently working on an upcoming video to show you how you could potentially apply your own water resistance coating onto basically almost any of your pre-existing garments for around $10 US. So please do not get enticed just because a piece is marketed to be water resistant. The last point is something that would apply to almost every type of genre of fashion out there, and that is to try to avoid immediately investing into bold or louder pieces, because ultimately this is forcing you to commit into having to build around a piece, which could potentially lead you into a dead end whereby the pieces work together for a particular outfit, but it's not very cohesive with your entire wardrobe. Instead, focus on building a solid foundation first with your basics that you can then later use to apply to all your other future outfits. However, if you're very certain on the style that you want to commit to right from the start, then this kind of applies less to you. But for those of you out there who are still exploring, nailing down the basics first will give you a bit of a leeway if you do want to change or switch up your style down the road. Moving on to a segment that probably a lot of you tuning for is what brands can you start off with, or just what are my recommendations for cheaper and affordable techwear pieces. Obviously, if you have the money, you can go straight to Acronym, but I think for the vast majority of us, a lot of us would kind of prefer to start at a much lower entry point to get our foot in without breaking the bank. Before we jump into this segment, I'd like to take this time to talk a little bit regarding cheaper alternatives. When it comes to techwear, Acronym is kind of the pinnacle of it all. And it's to no surprise, it's what started this whole genre of fashion, and it's still being used as a reference point for many brands out there. That being said, because of the very high price point, it's not for everyone. Thus, there are a lot of people are on the lookout for cheaper alternatives, which creates a kind of a demand and market for it. Now we can sit here and have a 20-hour debate on cheaper alternatives copying the original design and the integrity of it, but here is my unbiased view on it from a consumer standpoint. If you are completely happy with just picking up the cheaper alternative, there is nothing wrong with it. The most important thing is you do feel a sense of joy with what you buy. However, if you are going to pick up a cheaper alternative with the intention of getting the actual reference piece somewhere down the line, I personally think it's not a good decision both in terms of wardrobe building and financially. Reason being, once you do obtain the actual reference piece, the cheaper alternative is going to lose a lot of significant value to you. 10 out of 10 times you will want to utilize the actual reference piece, and now the cheap alternative is just going to be sitting in your wardrobe collecting dust. Instead, if you have gotten something different, you can now look to incorporate both pieces, giving you a wider variety of options when it comes to styling. That being said, when we are looking at cheaper alternatives, there are some sacrifices that needs to be made. And for me, I tend to kind of focus more on the durability and functionality of a piece and just stick to a more basic silhouette. This will allow you to kind of not have to constantly go out and pick up new pieces, thus allowing you to save up for those bigger purchases and you can wear them on a daily basis. Do your own research when you are picking up from smaller or lesser well-known brands. A lot of times, if something is too good to be true, chances are it's probably not a good idea to pick it up. With all that, my number one recommendation would be Uniqlo. At the budget price point, you honestly cannot compete with what Uniqlo is able to offer in terms of both functionality and quality. Almost all my basic t-shirts that I'm wearing are from Uniqlo, and in fact the one jacket that I would recommend anyone who is starting the techwear journey to pick up is the Block Tech Parka. Coming in at only around $70 US, it is a very minimal piece that allows you to use it as an everyday shell jacket, and it has all the basic functional features such as waterproof, windproof, while still being breathable. In addition to that, as you continue to build your wardrobe further, you can even use it as a layering piece, giving a lot more life cycle after your initial phase. Alternatively, sportswear brands such as Nike, Adidas, or even Lululemon can be a great place to look for some functional wear. Oftentimes, sports apparel brands will have some sort of functionality in their garments to help athletes perform better, whether it be moisture awakening, odor resistance, better insulation, or improved air ventilation. These are proper features that will help you to adapt to the environment better. Not to mention, the many collaborations with iconic brands will allow you to own something from the brands at a much lower price point. Accessories and carry systems are something that is very synonymous within the techwear style, and it shows as there are a plethora of brands out there. However, there are definitely some brands that are miles ahead better than others. While many would think of Orbit Gear as the go-to brand for affordable accessories, I would instead suggest looking at DSPTCH. What I really love about this brand is that they truly emphasize on durable products that are built to last a lifetime. Coming in at just a little over $100 US, these side pouches are rather minimal looking, with just a touch of utilitarian feel, making them a very versatile piece that will be able to fit into your rotations for many years to come. So you have a better understanding on what techwear styles you like or just what you want to incorporate into your wardrobe, and you have already started building your core pieces. What is next? For me, this is where everything just starts to slow down quite a bit, because at this point, it's all about saving up for some of those bigger statement pieces like your acronym jackets or whatever your grill pieces are. Because we all know true techwear pieces are not cheap, and being able to afford 1 to 2 pieces a year, I would already consider it to be a major win. One of the best advice that I can give here is to just go at your own pace. Unless you are very wealthy, understand that it's going to be a very slow process, and it doesn't mean that you should rush through it, especially if you are just treating it as a hobby. In fact, if you could only take one message from this entire video, I really do hope that this would be it, as it does tie in quite closely with mental health. Oftentimes when we scroll through Instagram, we're always inspired and wanting some of those grill pieces that others are wearing, which is a very normal thing. However, chances are they themselves took a while to build that very outfit. Hence, I think giving yourself all this unnecessary pressure and burden to quickly obtain all these expensive pieces in a short period of time could potentially lead to a very unhealthy mental state, and not to mention a very reckless financial decision. I learned this the hard way, and I'm hoping to pass this on to you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes as me. Instead, take this time to focus on other things in life or just your other hobbies that you are interested in. There really is so much more to life than just clothing. You can also take this time to learn and discover more about the style that you're into and how to improve upon it. There are always kind of hidden new brands out there for you to discover, as well as inspiration that you could implement into your wardrobe to take it to the next level. Building a timeless wardrobe takes time, and only through time that you will get better at building outfits. Always remember that there will constantly be new pieces being put out. It's just how the industry works. So don't feel pressure that you have to kind of obtain a certain piece just to fit in the crowd. It's your wardrobe, your money, so take your time and just enjoy the process. That is all I have for today's video. I really do hope that if you are a beginner or just new to techwear, then you will find this guide somewhat useful. Again, I have to emphasize that these are all just my thoughts and opinions. I am not claiming this to be the ultimate rule that you should follow. I'm just giving my 2 cents on this topic and just how I would personally approach it if I'm completely new to this genre. At the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money, so do with it as you please, as long as it brings you joy and happiness. If you disagree with some of the points mentioned in today's video, that is completely fine, but please do not be a keyboard warrior and start raging down below in the comment section. Let's have a civilized discussion, and hopefully this will be a good introduction point for many out there who are interested. If you did find this video helpful or you just enjoyed watching it, then please do me a favor and hit the like button. And once again, if you are new to the channel or just haven't been subscribed yet, it would really mean the world to me if you guys can go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, because it's these little things that really does help to push the channel out to more people. Please do stay safe out there, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.